Everyone, I'm here in the AFTV studio. I've just recorded a tactical insight with Graham. Go check that out on AFTV. I think it's out on the weekend. We broke down Benjamin Sesko from a data perspective. If you saw the Goonerverse, you'll know that we talked about him, me and Ben, from an eye test perspective, what we see, what we understand of the player, purely from watching him. Some of the data Graham has brought is brilliant. Marrying that up with what I know from what Ben's told me, yeah, I think it's a good piece of content. I'd love for you guys to all go watch that. But let's talk about Rodrygo. That's what we're here for, because Mikel Arteta supposedly loves the player. Now, I wouldn't normally give you this kind of update because it doesn't really say anything in terms of the development of the deal. But I think the source and where it's coming from makes it interesting. So, Mario Cortegana, who covers Real Madrid in the transfer market for The Athletic, has 230,000 followers, and I think was mentioned by David Ornstein recently when talking about sort of the Athletics correspondence, their idea of the Zubimendi deal. Mario Cortegana has said to the Madrid Zone, who have 1.5 million followers on X, that Mikel Arteta is in love with Rodrygo. The coach carefully studied Rodrygo and is totally certain that Rodrygo would be a superstar at Arsenal playing on the left wing. Arteta really, really wants Arsenal to sign Rodrygo this summer. Now, again, Arteta loves a class player. What's kind of the point of that update? I think when these things are coming to The Athletic, you definitely stop and go, okay, that's an interesting briefing. Why do they know that? What does this mean for the advancement of the deal? Hand of Arsenal talking about it. He's a name that's been mentioned when David Ornstein's spoken. A little bit like when the Kepa Arrizabalaga stuff was mentioned by Fabrizio Romano and I think Gunnerblog and David Ornstein. You went, oh, okay, there's something in this then. Not just because some of the best journalists have mentioned it, because the Athletic have got hold of it. And then within a few days, bam, Arsenal set to sign Kepa. He's going to come for £5 million. He's going to compete with David Raya. Now, I don't think there's going to be that kind of development with Rodrygo, because to stress one more time, there's a Club World Cup starting in a few days. Real Madrid are a part of that. Rodrygo, I think, wants to understand where he stands with Xabi Alonso. They have signed Mastantuano, if I've butchered the name, I think. But that is another player who can play in the front three. They've got Arda Güler, they've got Diaz who can play in the front three. They're already trying to fit in Vinicius and Mbappe, who tend to drift to the side on the left that Rodrygo wants to play his football in. I talked with Ben Mattinson on Transfers Explained. We did an hour looking at the left winger market in its totality, just looking at what is out there for Arsenal to potentially do, who's a good fit. And Rodrygo, it's not just that he's Brazilian and plays for Real Madrid and he's won the Champions League and La Liga titles. Like, yeah, the CV is great, the profile is great, but this is someone who stylistically is a major fit for Arsenal. He is really, really suited in terms of what we need in this team. Yes, he's got pace and he can do things on the touchline, but he does a lot of his best work on the inside. Ben Mattinson telling us he's a great striker of his left and right foot. Striker of a football, I mean. He's got that ability to do things out of nothing. He can get in behind, he can work in central spaces. He can really complement, whether it's Calafiori going on the inside or lewis-skelly and the intricacy as a midfielder he gives you, and he's inverting too. So I think Rodrygo is a great fit. And when you couple that up with what's being said here by Mario of The Athletic, Arteta's in love with Rodrygo. Like, he desperately wants to do this deal. He's totally certain that he'd be a superstar on the left wing and that he really wants to sign him. Arsenal, I think, are going to come competitively for Rodrygo. I think this is the first time I've ever really believed or internalised for me that this is one Arsenal might genuinely, even if they have to take their time for a month, and I'm happy to take our time on the left winger. I'm not on the striker, but I am on the left winger more so if it means getting the right guy, because I think the market's better, I think the players are better, and I think I'd rather wait a month to get Rodrygo than just pay Williams' release clause now, because I think Rodrygo's the better player. We have done a numbers video on the two on the Goonerverse, so go check that out. But I think with Rodrygo, I think there's someone there that Arsenal and Arteta are willing to take their time, even if it means spending 80 million, even if it means getting to 250 grand a week. This is one of the best wingers in the world. Forget one of the best wingers on the market. Forget just being simply a former Real Madrid player. This is a class act that I think Arsenal will take their time to try and get right. And I really hope we do. I'm more, with every passing day, I'm getting more and more excited about this because it feels more possible. But it is also worth giving you the context that doesn't feel quite as exciting, because on this channel, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to dress things up as more exciting than they necessarily are. Rodrygo has posted photos of him training in Real Madrid kit with the caption "Feliz," which simply means happy in Spanish. Is that a message that he's happy where he is and that he's not looking for a move, and that everything that's out there is a load of nonsense? I would feel this could have been shut down a little bit sooner from a media perspective if that was the case. Is this something in the sense that he's just trying to tell people, look, I'm happy. Like, I all this, I'm not happy because I'm playing on the right. All this, I need to speak about my future. I want this to be the case, whatever. Maybe he just wants to quickly get the word out there, because you never know what pressures are coming from internally at Real Madrid, what pressures are coming from fans, whatever it might be. He maybe just wants to make the point, I'm good. And maybe a move is a case of it being circumstantial for him. If he can't get the minutes or the trust or the areas of the pitch he wants to play in from Xabi Alonso that he's seeking, he'll be happy to make a move and maybe be a bigger fish somewhere else. But I don't think this is something he's going to actively force and drive with Real Madrid. But I still think that makes him a player available. I hope that makes sense. But interesting that he posted just to maybe send a little bit of a message. Guys, I'm happy, everything's all right. So yeah, interesting. Then there was this update, because while we're talking about wingers, this is important too. David Ornstein said that Galatasaray have agreed to sign Leroy Sane as a free agent. They've given him a 3-year deal worth 15 million euros per year, which according to Magic Hat, I haven't done the numbers myself, would be easy to figure out, but Magic Hat at the Magic_Top Hat seems to really understand football finances and tweets a lot about that kind of stuff. Has said this is the equivalent of being paid 450 grand per week gross in England. Arsenal were never going to give Sane that money. I wouldn't give him 250. I wouldn't feel great about 150. I'm not sure I'm convinced he should even be a part of the squad. We talked about it because of the ex-Man City, the ex-Chelsea, not that he's ex-Chelsea, just the amount of times we sign players from clubs, rival clubs, that they no longer want. That's not to say as a third attacker, as backup for Saka, he could have, that he couldn't have done a job, that he couldn't have played on the left in some way, that we don't need squad depth. If we'd signed him, I wouldn't have been disappointed. This is a 29-year-old who actually still ended the season at a good level for Bayern Munich. I like the player. I don't love the player. I'd much, much, much rather build with the idea of Waneri being able to cover on the right, with the idea of more creativity in midfield, so that Waneri could do that, with getting the right left winger, getting the right striker, and then Trossard and Martinelli staying. I prefer all that to Sane coming in, if I'm really, really honest. But I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section below. He has said, David Ornstein, that Arsenal and Fenerbahce were all keen. He also said, I think I've got it saved somewhere. Let me just quickly see. I think I read somewhere that we did go quite competitively for Sane. Florian Plettenberg saying that Arsenal asked him to wait. But yeah, before they made a decision what to do, they weren't willing to increase their offer, according to Bucci Laba, 90,000 followers on X. Anyway, look, whatever. He's not coming. He's going to Galatasaray, and I am absolutely not losing sleep over it, though I think he's probably a better player than people think. Just wasn't a deal I think was right for Arsenal. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section below. Arteta really wants Rodrygo. We all do too. Make it happen. Catch you in a bit.